All right, the Lions finally did it. They did the thing that we were all hoping they would do, and they have activated our man off the edge, James Houston. They have activated him for the first time. As you know, he was injured early in the year. In fact, this year he's only played, I believe, 14 or 22 snaps, somewhere in there, and they have activated him, but they had to do a move to make room for him on the roster. And they have, as you see, activated edge rusher James Houston, and they have waived edge rusher Julian Okara. Okay, so let's talk about this for a second. Before I get going, is this the right move? Leave a comment below. Are you excited? Are you excited to see James Houston back in uniform for the Detroit Lions? The Lions must believe that he is healthy enough. I mean, he was pretty much at the very end of his 21-day evaluation clock. He's been a full participant in practice this week, even last week. So you had to know there was a level of health that was there. But are you good with them getting rid of Okara? He's a guy on the last year of his contract, I do believe, without looking it up. I think Okara's on the last year of his contract. So does this make sense for the Lions? Because what they are going to be bringing him in for is very simply a pass rushing specialist. But I wanted to be a little more specific with this. And I wanted to give you some numbers of what Okara's doing this year compared to what Houston did last year. And here's the crazy thing. They played a very similar amount of snaps, Okara this year to Houston last year. But it feels like Okara is never on the field. Julian, Romeo is, all right? But James was everywhere last year. According to PFF, in 2022, James Houston had 92 pass rushing snaps. Julian Okara this year, 82. Okay, so 10 less. He had 31, that is James Houston, run snaps, and Okwara's had 19 this year. So that means he's been on the field for 23 less plays. Let me give you some stats. This year, Okwara's pass rush grade is a 62.5, and it has resulted in 2 sacks. It has resulted in 9 total pressures, so 82 pass rushes, 9 pressures, a little over a 10% pressure rate, 5 hurries, 2 sacks. All right, and 4 tackles. James Houston last year, 92 pass rush snaps resulted in 17 pressures, just a little bit better pressure rate. It resulted in 5 hurries. So he almost 25% of the time, 22, 23% of the time was either pressuring or hurrying the quarterback, and he got home for 8 of those sacks. That is remarkable. Right now, the best thing we've had we're blitzing. That's what we're doing, right? We're blitzing, and the best thing we've had off the edge outside of Aiden Hutchinson is nobody. Nobody's been doing it off the edge. Romeo Okwara gets some coverage sacks, maybe. Josh Pascal's gotten a sack here or there. Kaminsky's gotten a sack here or there, but nobody is consistently getting to the quarterback. It's just not happening. That's not named Aiden Hutchinson. So that's why in this title you see that the Detroit Lions just made the perfect roster move. They are bringing back a player that has a shot to make plays. He's made plays in the past. Now, this year, he had 14 pass rushes, and he got 2 pressures on those. All right, so he wasn't working at nearly as high of a clip, but still working at like a 15% pressure rate, all right, with another hurry, so 3 out of 14. I mean, that's not bad. All right, and it's a small sample size. Now, we know the Lions have messed around with Houston. We know that they've tried to make him a stand-up linebacker on the outside. We know that they've put him back in coverage. We know a lot of things about James Houston, but here's what we know. He's really, really good at one thing. And that one thing that he's really, really good at is rushing the passer. When they've had him standing up, when they've dropped him back in coverage, it hasn't gone that well for him. As much athleticism as he has, as much bend as he has, as his ability to be violent with his hands and get around the edge and all of that kind of stuff, that athleticism doesn't translate as well onto the field. I would make the argument that Aiden Hutchinson, at about 20 to 25 pounds heavier, somehow translates better to the pass defense side of it, or the coverage side of it, than James Houston. The idea behind James Houston, what you want to deploy him on, are those third and longs. It's really that simple. And every once in a while, second and really long, because you want to make the other team pay for doubling Aiden Hutchinson. You also want to make them pay for not doubling Aiden Hutchinson. What do I mean by that? If they double Aiden Hutchinson on one side, or they need to leave a tight end in there to chip him, or whatever it looks like, all right, you want somebody on the other side in one-on-one that's going to win their matchup. An offensive line, if we send 4 rushers, let's just say we have Romeo Okwara, Josh Paschal, Aleem McNeil, and Aiden Hutchinson in there on a pass rushing situation. You can double team Hutchinson. Okay? And you can, even with a tight end and a tackle, you can double team McNeil with a center and a guard. And then you have your other guard that's on Paschal, and you have your other tackle that's on Okwara. So you can double team our 2 most effective players. That's why the best defenses have 3 consistent pass rushers. When you look over at San Francisco, that defensive line is absolutely terrifying. You got Nick Bosa, you got Chase Young, and then in the middle, you have Javon Hargrave and Eric Armstead. They have 4 guys that can routinely get to the quarterback. The Lions have 1.5 to 2 with Hutch and McNeil. Can James Houston be that guy who consistently can get to the quarterback? We know he's not a guy that you're going to put down there and play 80% of the snaps or 90% of the snaps like Hutch. He's not that because he doesn't have the run defense side of things down, and setting the edge and all of that kind of stuff. But can he be useful in a playoff run? Can he even be useful as a specialist, a pass rush specialist, similar to what they were hoping Okwara was going to be? Yes, that can be very helpful. 1 or 2 sacks over the course of the next 2 or 3 games can make all the difference in the world, especially if it's a strip sack, especially, if it's on a big third down, or if it's a drive killer, or whatever it ends up doing, or if it's a sack that puts them out of field goal range. Like, bringing the offense, creating negative plays for the offense with your defense is massive, especially when you're going up against a team like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, right? You'll love getting Baker Mayfield in third and long because it's going to be a struggle for him. It just is. So I think this is a great move. Let me know what you think. Are you happy they brought Houston? Are you sad they dropped Okwara? Do you wish it was somebody else? Are we still possibly going to get him back? I don't know. All right, back to the practice squad. So he'll probably have to clear waivers, is my assumption, based on time accrued in the league and the way in which we cut him. So, all right, hope you liked the video. Keep watching. Lions Bucks Sunday at 3. See you on the next one.